Wind power is a generation of energy that is free and inexhaustible, that disrelishes the physical extraction of the earth, such as fossil and coal. It conserves the quality of the air and water, removing the possibility of mercury contamination. It is negligible to greenhouse gases and provides economic independence. Completed in July 2014, the London Array project is a wind farm operating 175 wind-propelling turbines 20 kilometres off the Kent coast in the Outer Thames estuary, United Kingdom. Its 2020 aim is to propagate enough natural energy to power 7% of the United Kingdom's energy consumption. In between 2007 and 2010, an average of $14 million per year was being spent on London's local energy consumption, $9 million of which was generated by electricity. From 2011 onwards, it crept up and stabilised at $16 million per year, $12 million of which was on electricity. By 2012, 74% of London's energy cost was consumed by electricity, and 36% of the total service area was consumed by buildings and infrastructure. The $3.8 billion construction was a mechanism to salute a decrease in costs by commodity of the high energy consumptions. The offshore wind farm's large sprawl across the ocean had quite a number of consequent impacts. Part of the reason of deepening the turbines was to allow for marine mammals and animals to coexist within the water space. Existing pipelines and cables were ensured preservation and not altered. The only seascaped impact that was evident was a 20-kilometre visual distant view that would vision the turbines. Navigation and shipping routes, inclusive of commercial fishing activities, were negligible. One of the two most vital impacts was the preservation of its agricultural land. London, being a dense city, hadn't consolidated enough area to sprawl out this wind farm. Its application in the ocean meant that they could go big and beyond. However, construction costs, being the second biggest impact, came in at an equivalent to $3.68 billion. The turbines have been strategically located in an area of high-speed winds to embody the inexhaustible propagating of wind energy. The construction benefited from a range of workable water depths and suited ground conditions, with an additional beneficiary of nearby ports for construction, maintenance, and operational purposes. Post-construction, the farm's proximity has proven a reduction in transmission losses for the entire southeast of England. The wind farm had allowed London Array to set goals and targets to meet specifically by 2020 as part of the UK's 10 Years to Prepare plan. These goals included a 34% reduction in carbon emissions and seek to generate 15% of all energy from renewable sources. The project currently reduces 1.4 million tonnes of carbon per year, supplies 33% of United Kingdom's electricity power, and hopes that Phase 2 alone can supply 7% of the country's required energy supply. The risk of this application was the sighting in the water and not interfering with any waterways activity. The project was ensured to be positioned in a proximity that did not disrupt existing activity, however still be managed for a certain distance in order to reduce transmission losses from the farm to the substation. Sustaining and preserving its surroundings, the governing body overlooking the project had a process of questioning whether authorization would be required for a certain activity to be relocated or disrupted. Referring back to the stands of this case study, inexhaustible energy should be utilized to its maximum potential. The ability to sustain energy in our surrounds should become an innovative application to preserve rural, farm and agricultural lands. The City of Sydney should innovate towards a city where infrastructure and buildings become the host for miniature wind turbines to propagate power. It is inevitable that the higher the altitude, the greater the wind speeds. Mechanisms could be devised on these building tops to ensure the building's power use is primarily consumed by the renewable energy propagated. This application could in turn work on headlands on the roofs of houses that exist at higher altitudes or closer to sea levels. The aim would be that the application of smaller wind turbines could generate enough constant energy to power a portion or as much as possible of the infrastructure it is connected to.